My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And this week, we all watched the finally posted premiere of Hotel Del Luna on Viki, which we will be talking about extensively in a little bit. But before then, what has everyone been watching?
Mostly, I mean, search www, of course, although I am a week behind right now because rarely before I go off to the trailer for the weekend are the subs at 100%. So I'm watching it the following week. And this weekend, this week I haven't had a chance yet. So it's on the list. I will get to it. But mostly I've just been watching Thai stuff because it's one episode a week. I can maintain. I can hold on to it a little bit better. Yeah. So I'm watching Theory of Love, which I enjoy, and it's finally gotten into the flip. So what's kind of neat with this one, the book does it as well as the show is doing it. It's like you see all of this love story from one person's perspective while they're pining for the other person and loving them without getting anything back. And then that person finally decides to let it go. I have to let go of this one-sided love. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's going nowhere.
And the other person realizes, well, crap, finds out. Because the other person doesn't even know, right? And the other person finds out
an idiot,
and the person loves them. Well, yes, he is. And so the other person finds out that his best friend is in love with him, and it kind of freaks him out. The second half is the second one, pursuing the first one, while the first one's already decided, no, I can't trust you, I give up. So we're moving into that flip where, he chases the first guy now, and it's fun.
And it's fun because he deserves to suffer.
Yeah.
He deserves to suffer so much. He is such a garbage person for the first half of the show.
Okay, I will say I don't dislike Kai, the character, as much as a lot of people seem to.
Yeah.
I think that he gets a bit of a bad rap because he literally has no idea that his friend's in love with him. He thinks they're just best friends. So a lot of the things are not his fault. It's selfish. It's absolutely selfish. Yeah. He's not intentionally taking advantage of this guy's feelings for him. He doesn't know. He's more dumb than he is intentionally mean.
Yes. He's very stupid. It's a good show. It's a very enjoyable show, and you can watch it for free on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's always fun.
I'm also watching Two Moons 2, which is cute. I have great love for the original Two Moons, so
it's heartwarming.
It's kind of nice because they're just whipping through they're retelling the story that was in Two Moons, but they're doing it in 3 episodes instead of 12. So they're just cutting it down to bare bones, but then I find that they're cutting out some of my favorite moments.
Yeah, as I sort of explained it to my husband, it was sort of like when they remade Full Metal Alchemist into Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the first 3 episodes, they're just okay, this is what happened in all the 12 episodes. It's literally exactly, but it's just whoop, okay, now we're into new story.
I think I'll be more into it once we're into, past the first 3 or 4 episodes, and we're into the other stories that they didn't really touch on much in the first series, because I really loved the couple from the first series, so these actors aren't really doing it for me well, and so
they're doing it for me. They're doing it for me completely. I'm being done for right now. I'm in it to win it with Two Moons, and I really like the original Two Moons. I have it saved on my phone for when I'm sad because it's a nice pick me up. But I'm really into this one.
Like I said, 1 episode a week. I can watch that. I can catch up. Right now, with being away at the trailer and not having access to the internet for 4 or 5 days a week, I'm trying to catch up everything in 2 days. It's Wednesday, Thursday, watch all the things, and it's
so, on top of podcast recording.
Yes, exactly. And then it's I need to catch up on this, and I need to catch up on that, and it's Tuesday night, and I have it watch the things I need to watch. How about you, Jessie? What are you watching?
Well, let me bring up my handy dandy My Drama List app.
With its brand new app! The brand new
Hashtag not spawn, but you should download it and then add us all. We're there.
That's a long hashtag.
but nobody has used it yet. So I am also watching Search WWW as always. I caught up yesterday, so I'm like completely caught up because again, the subs are being atrocious. When I want to watch it, it's like, oh, you can't because none of the subs are there and you don't know Korean as well as you try to make yourself think.
Especially for like that type of a show. Ooh.
Yeah. Like,
technical speak that I don't use in.
They're going to a coffee shop now. That's like, got that. I also started Watcher, which is fantastic. I'm all caught up on that because I'm like, as soon as the subs come out, I'm like there. So good. It is right up my alley in like crime, but also a mystery puzzle thing going on, especially how everybody's connected in the cast. And I think the cast is really good. The only gripe I have, and it's not actually a gripe, the only thing that I don't like about it is there's a girl who's like junior cop who's there. She basically does nothing, and it's like she doesn't have any connection with anybody, like unless there's something that's going to happen later on in the series.
Let's pretend that that's the case.
Yeah. Everybody else has a specific like connection because they all work in the internal affairs office at the police department. Mm-hmm. And they all have ties with one specific event that happened, which was So Kang-jun's character, his father, who was a police officer, was convicted of killing his mother when he was younger. And so the main cop is the one who father was a mentor to him, and he was the one to like show up at the scene, and like he's the one to talk to the character when he was like a little kid. Then also there's an attorney who's fantastic. She's the best part of the show. Sky will also be seeing her very soon because she's a character in Boys Over Flowers that we have not got to. She's great. She like, you don't know, like there's a lot of mystery involved because they're all tied in with like police corruption and like and how it affects her, and she's had an issue with that, and you only see it in like flashbacks, like per kdrama usually does. But the flashbacks are done so well because they're used as a device to haunt the characters as opposed to make the audience know about things. Like, so you understand what's going on and you figure out specific things, but like
it feels like an actual flashback within the character's mind.
Like there's an episode where the attorney is like washing her hands and she's like reminded of the time she was like tortured or whatever, and so like her hands turn bloody. And it's just like an instant reminder of that. And it's like more of that it's actually haunting her as opposed to us knowing that she was tortured. That sort of thing. So it's been really good, really fascinating.
And she has mental illness connected to some, I think, trauma. And I think so far, even just the first 2 episodes, I thought the little things they did say about that were well done.
Yeah. And she's like just in a character that I really like, where you're just like, you don't know if they're good, don't know if they're bad, but also like, humans are like that. Like you don't have to have this extreme characterization of a person, and she's that way, and I think they're doing it really well. And then the actors are just really good. So if you're into like heavy crime dramas, this is definitely one I think it would be good. Right now it's not been super gruesome or anything, so I mean, like
there was some torture.
I know, but like flashbacks. Not like
no, it was
really not like Voice level. The first season of Voice that was just
and
like...
I would say that Possessed was even worse. Like, what I've been seeing. So it's good. I enjoy it. And it's on Viki as an OCN show, so definitely check that out. I also, because I apparently just want to, not have any free time, I started Designated Survivor yesterday, the day before.
Yes.
It's great. It's good.
It's really good. I'm watching it with my husband.
I really wish I had the time right now.
I'm only on the 2nd episode because I literally just started, and it's like a little hard to watch, especially the first episodes. Yes. And it's kind of more because the nature of the show, like because it starts off with the bombing of the Blue House, and so it's there's a lot of emotional like tie, like you kind of like are back to like September 11th like kind of issue, like so it's hard to kind of really like want to keep watching that, so because it's really heavy, but it's not because it's not a good like well written show. And I think it's like fascinating because I think it's like I didn't watch the American show, but I think it's more fascinating watching this because I don't really have a connection with Korean politics, so it's like interesting, like everything's new,
Yeah.
So it's like interesting to see how things are happening.
You're
and
kind
how
of learning a little bit too as you go.
And the main actor is so
good.
good.
He's so good.
So incredible.
And he's
like beautiful.
His character, yeah, he is really nice to look at.
Beautiful.
But his character is like, because I know like a little bit about like what the first episode of the American show is, but like it's different in Korea. Like here we have a designated survivor, which is if there's like something that happens like where everybody in Congress has to be in one specific spot, especially like with the president and the vice president and like everybody as a successor. They pull out, yeah, and it's random and it doesn't matter what like level they are, they just get pulled aside, put in an undisclosed position so that if something were to happen, there's at least one successor to be the president.
Yeah. But in this one, it's like pure accident.
It is
the only one.
Yeah, and so they like apparently they don't have that in Korea, or at least in this world of Korea. It's like done as a present day thing. This is all first episode, so it's not spoiler. They're all meeting about, they're trying to get more cars from America, but like the cars that they're trying to get have different standards.
Have worse emission standards than Korean cars do.
And they're having an issue because they're trying to get on America's side because of the United States like favoring North Korea.
North Korea. North Korea is
North Korea, not North Carolina. And so like the guy who's like been like the lead character in this show, he's part of like the EPA, and he's like just
he's like the environment
teacher, like he's a nerdy guy like who just is a scientist who's in that role. Again, they show him, he comes first day to his role and he doesn't even have like dress shoes on. He has like sneakers. He's like, no, I've done all the math and this isn't going to work. And so he like puts a stance on it and he's like, I would rather just leave. And then so the president was like, okay, fine. Like, this is your resignation. The next day the place bombs and he just, or like,
it was the same day. It was like the same day. Yeah.
He's supposed to like pick up his wife and his kid. So the resignation hasn't gone through. And he's literally seeing the bombing happen on the highway, just watching it happen.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who survived. So he's the acting president.
It's because like the resignation was never filed, so he was never actually fired.
Yeah. It's so good. It has such good characters and good actors. Like the guy who plays the serial killer dad from Come and Hug Me is in it, and he plays like the secretary of whatever like positioning. So good, and they do some really great things. Like they tie in the characters with their actual like the way that they were with the president and stuff. So you get to see how there were times when some of these staff members, like the president was a father figure to them. Yeah. So not only is it everybody like trying to figure out who did the bombing and what's happening and all this and like who's dead and who's not dead and all this stuff, they show that they really lost family members. Like, you know,
I think the one that hit me most was the kid who was like the intern for the chief of protocol.
Yeah.
And the chief of protocol, because that's like a thing in Korea, obviously, dies in the explosion. And the only reason that the kid wasn't there, because he was supposed to be, was that he begged to go to like the other place to do something. And so the guy was like, yeah, I'll take it for you this time. And like you can tell they were like really close. And so this kid is like vomiting on the side of the road and horrifically depressed.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh.
But then they also still have to do all this stuff, and then there's like right off the bat there's an issue with a sunken ship from a North Korean ship, and they're like, is this part of it? Is North Korea behind what's going on? What's happening?
It's really well done.
You probably have to be in the right mindset to watch it.
Yeah, but I'm like, you watch
I really liked the American version, so I was like super pumped. And it's really funny because in the American version, like Kiefer Sutherland's character is like real incompetent at the beginning. Like you're just like, dude,
this is what I like about this one.
And this one, he is even worse. Like he is even less.
But he's like not incompetent like in terms of his like intelligence. He is like he's like a character. He's very like he's not good with social situations. Like he processes things. He's got to process things, and he does calculations in his head. So it's never like incompetence or like even like he's just being showy now that he's like the president.
He's incredibly intelligent, but really bad at politics.
I'm kind of watching Love Affairs in the afternoon. It's the one I kind of push aside if I don't have time. I think I'm on episode like 3.
I saw the first one of that.
Also, Before We Get Married, I'm still watching that, but like I'm a couple episodes behind. Those are my two like push aside because I have a lot of Japanese dramas that I'm watching. Like this is like Jesse's week. So I started one show called Coffee and Vanilla. I did it because Sakurada Dori is in it. He's the main lead. I like him. He's a really cute kid, and I've seen him a bunch of different stuff. He was in Good Morning Call,
yeah.
And Atelier, and the other drama that I'm watching, I Will Not Do Overtime Period or something like that is the title, which is really good. The Coffee and Vanilla is still airing, so they've only had 2 episodes out. This one, it is out, like completely out, but it's only been like a month, so subs are slow. And it's about like, it's just a J-drama, like that's office J-drama, and I'm really into office J-dramas. Not so much K-drama office shows, but J-drama I'm really good. And it's just about a girl who, she works at like a marketing place, and her like thing is that she's going to leave when she's supposed to leave at the end of the day. Yeah. And so the like story focuses on issues with workers in Japan, you know, overworking, or like they have an episode where there's a person who has just come back from maternity leave, and how not only like working back like in Japan and probably other Asian countries, maternity leave is pretty sizable. It's like at least 6 months. So like her coming back and then feeling like she has to do more because she hasn't been away, and feeling guilt and pressure, but also like realizing that like it's going to be hard to get back in. It's a good show. I'm enjoying it. If it was completely out subbed, I would have already finished it. What else am I watching? Oh, I just started it last night. It's, what is it called? The newest J-drama that's on Viki right now. I can't remember what it is. It's based on a Taiwanese drama. I started the first episode. I just didn't finish it. It's like an airing show. They're subbing it. Other than that, like I still have more stuff on Absolute Boyfriend, but I was trying to watch the rest of the J-drama version before I finished Absolute Boyfriend, and it's an okay drama. It's just one of those things like I'll watch an episode and be like, no, I'm done for the day.
How far are you on the J-drama?
6 episodes. So I'm like getting there, but then I was like, you know what, I think I want to finish the J-drama before I finish my Absolute Boyfriend.
Is the J-drama In Time With You the one that's on Viki?
Yeah, and it's based on the Taiwanese drama. I think on Viki it's the same name, like the Taiwanese drama is the same. So that's it. What about you, Aya?
There's a lot of overlap. So I'm also obviously watching Designated Survivor, since I just waxed poetic about it. And I'm also watching Two Moons 2. And I'm also watching Theory of Love. Love it. I just finished my epic rewatch of all 54 episodes of 5 Children, which you would think would have taken me longer than a week. It didn't. Love it. My thirst for Sung-hoon is just never abated. Like, and also like I wanted to watch Level Up, but I think it only subbed like yesterday. I started that one yet, but I plan to. Still watching Search WWW and My Absolute Boyfriend, but I'm a week behind. I gotta catch up. But I did start 2 new dramas this past weekend. I started a Chinese drama, The Untamed, which is based on a BL novel, The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. It's pretty fun. It's like a real fantasy, and I'm really sort of intrigued to see it because the novel is incredibly gay, but it is a Chinese drama, which means that they're going to pretend that it's not gay, when in fact we all know. But like, I always sort of love them. Like, Guardian's another good example of this, where you're like, oh, they gay. Those boys gay. Those boys are in love with each other. But they're just like, you know, not
we're good friends.
Alluding to
like the thirsty eye looks are going. So I'm like really anticipating some of that, because y'all know the actors know this is, you know, based off of gay literature. Like,
I like was it on, I can't remember if it's through my drama list, and the description is this unconventional romance, and you're like, unconventional. Okay, that's a word for it.
Yeah, I think you just mean gay love. Anyway, so that's actually, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, the show, but it's like, it's very C-drama fantasy, so like it's beautiful, but a little cheesy at the same time. So like, you gotta sort of like that already. Beautiful wigs. Lots of beautiful weaves happening in that one. Beautiful men with beautiful hair. And the other one I started was I Hate You, Juliet. It was just like on my like plan to watch list, and I was like,
it happens, man. It'll get you.
And it's so cute. I'm only like a few episodes in. Like, he's Lee Hong-gi's character is still like in panic mode because he can hear the girl's thoughts, and she's delightfully weird. I always like her. What's her name? The actress Jung Hee-sung. She's always a delight. She's just such a weirdo. So it's really cute. Really enjoying that. Yeah, I've been watching.
And you watched Arthal too.
Oh hell yeah, I watched Arthal.
I'm just saying that's our overlap, so I got
that's true.
Sure.
Like Arthal. Oh shit. Like I've heard a lot of people complaining about it, but I have like zero complaints. I think this is like a solid fantasy show. Like it's basically like Dragonlance minus the dragons, essentially. And I am like into it. I am so down with this series, and I just cannot believe that I now have to wait 2 months for the last 6 episodes because this is bullshit.
Hey, I'm glad because with my summer being so like out of control, and the fact that I'm watching that one with my son, like I'm still only 3 episodes in, so I'm like, I need time to catch up. That's good.
You got time.
In for a treat. And I've heard like a lot of people complaining about certain things about it that I'm just like, okay, these are like very standard fantasy like situations. Like they're like, oh, like I don't see why this character. I'm like, it's a fantasy trope. Like if you don't already like cheesy over the top fantasy, you're probably not gonna.
This is not your genre.
Like it's just like.
And that's cool. Go elsewhere.
Because when you're in this genre, like when I'm watching it as a child who read nothing but like novels that had like wizards on the cover, that's what my husband's best friend used to call them, your wizard books. I'm just like, this is the show that I've always wanted. I'll just love it, guys. I'm into it. And the hair, the wigs. Oh, Song Joong Ki with his beautiful long hair. I just want to brush it. So beautiful. He's so beautiful. He's just so pretty. It's disgusting how much prettier he is than like any woman I've ever met. Like, he's just so pretty. But yeah, no, if you like fantasy, you'll like Arthal. That's and if you don't like fantasy, you probably aren't gonna like it that much because it's like a straight up Western style fantasy story. Like it's not. I was actually like thinking. I was talking about.
There's a level of predictability to it. Like.
Yeah. But also
it's a
like,
lot of foreshadowing. I mean, it's the way it goes.
The styling of it is not very Korean. Like the styling is straight like Game of Thrones style outfits and buildings and situations. So it's like that's what they're going for, not like your typical it's not a Saeguk. It's not a Saeguk. You're not gonna get that from this.
You're not gonna get envoys.
Yeah, no, you ain't gonna get this.
No envoys.
But like you ain't gonna get it. That's not what you're gonna get. You're gonna get like a straight up like Western style fantasy story. I'm sorry, I gotta stop talking about it. I just love it so much, guys.
And you weren't even gonna bring it up.
I wasn't, but you've opened the floodgates.
I'm gonna click through the ones that we already talked about. So Arthal, I'm watching. I'm caught up, and I am gonna side note on that. So it wasn't Netflix's doing this weird spacing. It was TVN.
Really?
TVN, they came out with an article, a statement, since I read it in an article, explaining they chose to space it that way. They chose to put Hotel de Luna in between, and it was because they needed more time on probably CGI stuff.
Well, then, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I accept this.
And so, is it a huge bummer but I also kind of have faith in TVN that they'll probably, as far as for people who are definitely live watching, and those of us who are watching it on Netflix, if we want to, we can always go back and revisit the story pretty easily. But people who are live watching, I imagine they'll probably do one of those, like, here's a quick rundown type episode.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at that. So I just wanted to say that. It's a bummer, and we're all not used to it. And it's totally cool to complain about. It's fine. As far as the reasoning.
Okay, fair.
I like that reasoning. It's so much better than just, like, forcing a break just to have it.
I'd rather have them take their time and do it well and do it safely
This is the
than
thing.
have stories about things falling on people and dying and
especially
episodes airing with ridiculous special effects.
Yeah, that's what I always find so confusing with their insistence on not pre-producing these like high budget, high CGI shows where I'm like, it's crazy not to pre-produce this. Like
they might be learning as far as
because TVN does a lot of those sorts of shows, so it's in their best interest to pre-produce things because you don't run into issues with injured, like, fiery priest level, like, injured actors or, you know, like, bad CGI, like in Korean Odyssey. Remember they had to take, like, a 2-week break because, like, the CGI was so terrible that they were like, we just need to not here. Yeah.
Like, I'd rather, like, if it's gonna be, it's like a break for CGI, pre-planned is better than, like, oh crap, we already released something that's terrible and now we have to, like, scramble.
Yeah.
Apologize to Netflix then because you know.
Yeah. We were very hard on you, Netflix.
We were hard on you and we didn't.
We're wrong.
No, I'm not sure I'm apologizing because I think they're the ones that made the My First Love thing happen. So, I mean,
that's true.
You know what, Netflix?
We're apologizing for our thought only.
Our thought only.
Our thought only. My first love, you can go to hell. That's all I have to say.
Because it would have been better in one season.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no heavy CGI for that they needed.
There's barely any. If there, it's, you know, like, come on.
That's just forcing Western thought process on stuff. There's no reason to do that.
Yeah.
So that was my little Arthal spiel. We already kind of talked Search WW. I'm a little bit behind on that one. I'm almost caught up with Absolute Boyfriend. I just need to see the last, if it's one episode or however many.
Yeah, I have like 2 left. Yeah.
Last bit. On the Absolute Boyfriend note, I am watching My Girlfriend's Boyfriend.
Ah! Yay!
Short, really strange.
So fun.
Take on it, which of course is funny, just crazy. I always kind of have 1 or 2 zany shows that whenever I get in the short zany mood, I go to my and so that's kind of the since
zany.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, this past week wasn't in the mood, but prior to that, I binged some of it because it was fun. I was in that mood. So
I did find that one to be more emotional than I expected it to be. How goofy it is. So, like, as you get into it and like the robot's feelings and stuff, you're like, hey, you know, maybe don't be such a jerk. I know he's just a robot. Like, try being nice for a change. Like,
right. I'm watching Before We Get Married, but I'm a week behind, I think. I watched the first episode of Love Affairs in the Afternoon. I don't know if I'll keep with it, just because I kind of read a little bit about the J-drama, which I just don't know if it's really quite my thing. I wanted to know kind of where it was going to go. Very well acted, very well done. Like,
and if you watch the J-drama, I feel like what I remember, because it has been like a year since I've watched it, and I didn't get to finish it, it's shaping up to look, at least, especially the tone, be very close. Like,
what
there's
I read
little
about
changes.
the
It's
other
not
one,
birds.
Tonally, it sounded like, I think they seem similar.
Yeah, when you watch it, you're like, even if you've never watched the J-drama, you'd be like, oh, this kind of feels like a J-drama. But Korean actors.
Sometimes I'll start a show because I want to see those actors in that role at least for one episode. So, it's nice to see the chick from 30 But 17, Jennifer, since I haven't seen her in much before. I wanted to see her in something different. And so...
Yeah.
Or seeing the guy from Top Star U-Back.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what they could do. And it was very, even within one episode, I definitely saw a good range. And it was, sometimes that's probably what it might stay with that with me.
Yeah.
Watcher was actually, the reason I started it was, again, I wanted to see Seo Kang-joon in that role. And then I was going to see how I fared with it, because since it's an OCN, I can do some OCN. I haven't done a lot yet, but I think I'll stick with it because it's really intriguing, and the characters' interactions with each other, or like the chemistry between the characters, is very, very, very good.
Yes.
And the mystery and stuff, but even just like short interactions with people is just kind of blows your mind. So I just thought it was really well done. I'm watching Coffee and Vanilla, which is cute and kind of strange, but I'm not used to J-dramas very much. But it's very. I know it's based on a manga too, which I tried to go find, but even my interlibrary loan stuff didn't have it. And I'm like, fine. I'll just not. Splish Splash Love. I randomly wanted to watch that because you guys mentioned it last podcast.
Yay! So cute!
Which I'd heard, I've heard everyone always talk about it, but since you guys mentioned it during the summer one, I figured, it was cute, and it was very simple, and I liked it. It was cute.
I have not actually watched it yet. I love her, and I can't believe I haven't yet, but I just...
What? Get out.
It's short.
We're done here. Yeah.
I'm fine.
Really cute. Yeah, I know. Deal breaker. Get out, Amanda.
Out of this podcast. Bye.
Done. We done here.
I know. I'm so ashamed.
Blue Splash Love. Too bad it's not on Netflix because it would be a good one for you to take your trailer.
Yeah, download.
Alright.
And then my main one that I am weirdly invested in and waiting for subs every single moment is Go Go Squid. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Part of it is because, I don't know, sometimes there's a show that it's just the aesthetics of some aspects of the show that I just get into. So for Go Go Squid, I learned something. So esports, which I don't know a ton about, but I know enough that in my brain when I think esports, I think League of Legends, like a lot of the gaming game stuff. And I know that's a big deal for a lot of people. I did not know cybersecurity competitions.
Oh yeah.
World of esports. I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew that hackers had their own conventions and did similar things, but I did not know. So I thought that was really interesting. And the way the main team of cybersecurity esports stuff, the way they have their clubhouse, they make it feels like a video game to me. All of the dorm room doors are like container, like those
like shipping containers?
Yeah, so like shipping container doors with numbers on them. It feels like you're in a spaceship kind of because of the way all of that is, and just the way it's built is like circular, and then the way the main team it's always black and it's kind of like sporty, futuristic. I'm like, for some reason that's just like really cool to me. I don't know why. And the main guy's really cute, so that helps.
Oh, he's so cute. He's the dude from Tianjin Mystic.
Yeah, and I know I need to go back and watch.
Oh, that one's a good one. That one's a good one.
So, his character's kind of frustrating, of course, but he's actually starting to smile now that we're in episode like a bazillion. Eventually, he smiles.
He's ultimate tsundere character.
Yeah, he's very he's the cute tsundere character. Like, that is very much got it. So the girl is cute and doesn't drive me too crazy, so it works. And really, even though the romance is a part of the story, a lot of it's about the main guy needing to forgive his past teammates for something. So that's kind of why he's a big grump. I think he's always been a big grump, but he's more of a grump now. So it's cute. For some reason, it's my thing right now.
I actually forgot I also started watching that. Of course I did.
How far did you get?
I did. I only watched the first episode. I literally watched it like last night before I watched Hotel Del Luna, so I watched like a single episode, so I haven't gotten too far.
The reason I even started it was because none of my other stuff was subbed at the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of the reason
I can watch 8 episodes of this.
Happened.
Okay.
That's legit.
Like, you know what sort of frustrates me is, so I'm watching The Untamed, right? Which has a new hour-long episode every weekday. So it's a 5 a day. And it's subbed an hour and a half after it posts. But WWW and Hotel Del Luna and Absolute Boyfriend and whatever, it's like days afterwards. It's still not subbed.
No, Level Up, it was days.
A week.
It got to the point where I was like, okay, listen, I'm having like flashbacks of drama fever.
Yeah.
This sort of thing happened before drama fever went away. And so it was like, can't do this, especially because I saw, I don't remember if someone posted it or I actually looked at Hotel Del Luna, where a subber was like, hey, we wanted to sub it too, but we don't have it and we don't know why. And none of the customer support team is on during the weekends. So we can't do anything. Yeah. And I was like,
oh, I didn't have the flashback, but that's totally legit. Like, that's exactly what happened.
I know.
There wasn't a new episode posted, and then there had been like a little thing like, due to there's like a small delay because, and then it was just like, we gone.
I was like, no, Vicky, no, don't.
I'm like, Vicky, don't you better not.
We might say stuff about Vicky a lot, but we don't want it to go away.
we appreciate Vicky quite a bit.
What we do want Vicky to do is maybe license a couple less shows and pay their subbers.
Yes.
And I do think they would get way more subbers that way.
Yeah, and quality subbers too.
And turnout would be faster, and then they'd be able to sustain as much as they're trying to put out.
They all need to hire us as business consultants, even though none of us have a business degree.
True.
I also have no aptitude at business whatsoever.
I would like to point out, certified in her name. Like,
Yeah.
True.
Speaking of certified, guys, do you know what's like a certified good time? Our coffee! So, if you want to help support this podcast, because we do not have any sponsors. Incredible, I know. We're so engaging and relevant to modern society. How we don't have any sponsors is just such a mystery. But we sponsor ourselves, and you have the opportunity to also sponsor us and get some extra content in return. So it's coffee.com, kofi.com/certified Noonas. You can go over there. We got extra shit. We have,
You can just buy us a cup of coffee. You don't have to give us $100. Though you
Hey,
could if you
you could if you wanted.
We're all
But
friends here, right? Like,
yeah, like we're easy to please, and we want to keep doing this for forever, theoretically. But unfortunately, like,
old.
we're going to be certified harmonies soon.
Yeah.
That vocal fry will be really great at that point.
so we all watched finally after it was finally posted and subbed, which we were a little worried, to be honest, that it would be ready in time.
I might have pulled an Natalia.
Yeah, they might have gone to different
might have, yeah.
protocols, as it were.
You might have given up and
Yeah. I actually
That's the
did
high
for the
sales.
first time, for the first time ever. Natalia,
You were busy with 5 children. That's the only reason that didn't happen.
I was
She already had something.
up in there, all up in 5 children.
Guy and I were like, Vicky, look at the time,
But and I was also like out a bunch this weekend. I had stuff to do. But we all watched the first 2 episodes of Hotel Del Luna, which is IU's new fantasy ghost hotel show. And oh boy.
There's nothing we don't like about that sentence.
Oh, everything-
IU, fantasy, ghosts. Like,
Everything about this show. It's like they sat down and said, let's write a show that the certified Noonas would love to watch, and let's make it look exactly like every show the certified Noonas have ever dreamed existed. Let's make it star IU, whom they all already love, and put her in incredible outfits and make her total bitch. Yes, I am down. This show is
here for it. It's
And then
so
he
good.
even threw us a little Kim Wan-hee. Like, hey,
just
there's a little Kim Wan-hee for the Noonas.
And not just a tiny, he had a role.
Yeah.
He did some stuff.
Yeah, he had a character arc in the span of a single
Yeah.
episode.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
I used stress during that scene.
Oh, purple dress. I was already searching for like something similar. I was like, I need this. And the dramatic hat. Oh.
And her, like, rhinestone, like, shotgun. Like,
Yeah.
Every single thing that they put, like the first. Okay, so it starts out like in the past, and she basically looks like a hobo. Yeah,
The
she's a
cutest warrior that ever existed.
Yeah.
warrior. But then the first time you see her in the modern age, she's wearing this. You see her from behind, and she's wearing this like silk robe, and it's like billowing out dramatically, and you're like, oh shit, here's
We're here. This is what's happening.
Yes, queen, yes. And then it just her outfits just get better. That black dress with the gold stripes. Oh,
mm-hmm.
so
So good.
So good.
Oh, there's in the opening credits. There's a giant sparkly shoe in one scene, and what you don't understand is the shoes are a main character. Like, they're actually the shoes are everything, and they're
She uses shoes
Even for
like,
the kid, because there's a whole scene where she like makes him change his shoes.
And I love those shoes. I've been
Oh my God.
obsessed with those types of shoes for forever.
Yes. They're like sort of zoot suit style. Incredible. I suppose we should have probably started with like what the basic plot of the show is.
It's us. Are you kidding?
So, okay.
Fine.
Essentially, IU's character
Wears a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, she does wear a lot of cool stuff. But she's like sort of semi-immortal because she's
like goblin-esque almost.
yeah, like she can't.
Some powers.
Yeah.
And
she has power and she's cursed.
Yeah, she's cursed to basically run this hotel for ghosts, who as sort of a waypoint between the afterlife and their being alive.
And it's like the place where they can do things. Like they can decide that maybe they don't want to reincarnate to a good thing, so that they can get retribution for what has happened to them.
Yeah,
Or
like if they regret something in their life. Like, so there's part of like the second episode has like this woman who works, a ghost who works at the hotel, going around and helping ghosts with what they call like their healing. So there's like one was like a guy who froze to death, and so she's helping him warm up before he moves on. And another was an old woman who you assume never learned to read, and so she's learning to read and is reading all these books, and she's like, you can stay here as long as you want and read what you want. And
it was so touching. Oh my gosh.
It was so good.
Like starved to death. So she's like, you can eat any of the foods that you never got to eat. And it's just like,
ridiculous eating the food. Like, it looks so horrible. And the ghost who works there is just
smiling.
Looking at her, love in her eyes. Like, I'm just so happy for you that you...
It actually did remind me a lot of Goblin, because my favorite part of Goblin was all the little mini vignettes that you got of the Grim Reaper, like with the
Grim Reaper parts. Oh.
And it sort of reminded me of that, where it was like there's these cute little vignettes that are very heartwarming but very short. And then we also meet basically the Grim Reaper. Who is played by a guy, and I just love this actor who's playing him, but he usually plays like comedic roles, but he's like very, very serious in this.
He's a musical theater actor.
Yeah, he's so good. And like,
great.
And he's just so handsome.
It's the secretary from Secretary Kim.
Yeah, exactly. And
I love this show so much. We were literally just talking about our favorite like non-Korean shows, and literally my lineup is The X-Files, Buffy. So this show, like, it's like with the set design, set decoration, costume design, the story, and being this quirky paranormal story, it's like everything that I could have never dreamed of a K-drama to ever give me, and it happened. And the entire time I was watching both those episodes, I was like, honestly, like, I love Search WWW, but this by far, I haven't watched a show where instantly I was like, I could watch it again immediately after. Like, I haven't been at that level. I've been like, oh, this is really good levels, but I haven't been at this level for a drama in a really long time. And it was just like,
and it's funny,
incredible,
and it's well acted, and it's you know, poignant so far. And we're only 2 episodes in, and we're already like down to clown completely with this entire show.
I'll have to admit, I did find it a little, not boring exactly, but just dry in the first. There's great things, like I love. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And there are great scenes, but I found myself getting a little, like, kind of distracted. Like, it was like, it's okay. But, like, I want to know more. I want to see where the characters are going. I love the characters. Like, I absolutely love the characters. I love the concept. I had to pause it at one point because there's a scene that the setup is very child danger. You're learning all about ghosts and stuff and violent deaths, and I'm like, if this child dies, like, this show is dead to me. I'm sorry. And the child totally doesn't die. It's not about the child. Like,
I think it was more of showing that children can see the spirits.
Yeah, exactly. So
but it was like, scary. It was like,
I totally paused it, and I was like about to go and, you know, tweet like, okay, somebody has to tell me the kid lives before I keep watching this. But then I was like, okay, just like get control of yourself. So I just kept watching it, and then it was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ghost tiger. It's all good.
The cinematography in the show is absolutely incredible too. It's just
beautiful.
For me, I never found a moment where I was bored because there was just like so much of what I love like happening on screen for me. Like just watching like what they were doing with the sets and the design, even the CGI versions of it. It's still just the way that it was designed was incredible, and the way that they were doing stuff. And then also like aside from that, solid found family and this little group of ghosts that run the thing, and you're just like, oh, this is so good, and it's like all the paranormal too. I'm like,
all the little workers at the hotel, especially P.O.'s character.
P.O.
He's so cute. I just want to squeeze his cute little cheek.
It's so cute. Secretary or manager?
Like, why they?
Oh yeah, the manager guy.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah.
It's
Well, because they all have not passed yet, so there's got to be like a reason why. And I wonder if it's like Goblin Grim Reaper, where it's like there's something happened that like forces you to be in that position, or if it's like they got to choose it.
Well, like, from what sounds like they chose
Yeah,
that
especially like the woman
to get rid of them, and they're like, no, I have to stay.
Like especially the woman who, like, you get the sense that she wanted to stay because they said, like, you were, like, rich and had lots of servants, like, when you were living, and she was like, yeah, so you get the sense that, like, she wants to serve other people.
That's what I'm like. It's like a little bit of like an atonement thing, where like they actually, like, even if it's not like drastic, there is some sort of like they're giving back as opposed to just being like okay to be in these positions. Yeah. Because like Pio's character is a kid that just died early on.
Yeah. I kind of wonder with the like the kid playing the bellhop, like if his character, they say like you were super smart and you went to like a really good school and everything. You wonder if maybe him being in that like sort of lowly service position is him atoning for the bad attitude he had about kids who like dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if he was one of those people who was like rude to waiters and stuff like that, and so now he's paying back by being a waiter, kind of concept, you know. I haven't figured out the bartender guy yet.
Well, we haven't seen much of him, really.
Yeah, we've only seen him
because there's also another character
played the tiger girl in
Mama Fairy.
Yeah, Mama Fairy. She has like
and she hasn't shown up yet, so
she's real cute.
And she's been in every promo poster, so there's gonna be more, I think, tied in.
Yeah, we're only 2 episodes in. We don't know much yet, and so basically, the main guy character's dad almost died, and because of this, the woman brought him back to life if he promised that she could have his son 20 years later.
Because she has to have a human, because she has to do all, like, the normal legal stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, and she just doesn't want to do
taxes.
She needs someone to, like, pay taxes and, like, run her errands and
drive her car.
Like, pay, you know, register the hotel and all this. And so she just basically wants a slave of her to do all this for her. But you meet like the old guy, there's like an old manager who wants to retire, and that's why she needs this new guy who is completely not interested in this at all. He's
his
like,
dad basically took him on the run for 20 years trying to like avoid paying off, you know, like he did not want to give up his son.
But he obviously is in the hotel service industry, and he's at the top of
his
like.
He's already a hotel manager. Well,
went to Harvard for business or something.
He went to a Harvard MBA. That's right. Yeah. She was just making fun of him for it. She's like, Harvard MBA is not that great. Like, who cares if you have a Harvard MBA? Like, you're just gonna come work at my hotel. And he's like, no, I'm not. But what you very quickly learn about this guy is, for all that he's like, he seems like he's kind of a dick. He is not.
No.
He's like very kind and very warm-hearted and has a huge, strong moral compass.
Even to her.
Yeah, even to her, he's kind when he does not have to be, and it is against his best interests to not be. He always does the opposite. He always does the right thing and sort of hates himself for it. You sort of notice, oh, why did I do that? Like,
yeah.
But like, I especially really found the scene like, so she basically haunts him with a ghost of a woman whose eyes are missing to sort of force him to come work at the hotel, because like he's just going to be haunted by this ghost if he doesn't. So the manager stops by. I'm not going to say any more on that, but he stops by and convinces him to do it. So he brings I especially really like the scene where he's in the cab with the blind ghost, and he's like, well, you can see now. Like,
he's like, just try it. Like,
try it. Like, you can, like, you
really don't have that dead blind body.
You can see now. You're no longer alive. You can see now. And then it's just like so sweet. Like, there's all these little sweet moments, and it's like,
they have scenes of her in the next episode, like as a background ghost, like enjoying the art in the hotel and stuff.
Yeah,
just walking around
the bar or something.
Even if it was just a little thing like her checking out, like she's just going. She's getting into that limousine and going through the tunnel.
I did think that moment where he kind of eventually figured it out. He slowly was learning what the hotel meant. Finally, at the end of that last episode, near the end of that last episode,
he realizes why this exists, right?
And so then what that equated to for this specific ghost, you can see now.
Yeah.
And you saw it, like you saw like little bits of it, but like you also kind of were revealed into what this place actually is at that moment too, when they start to like turn it into what, like this grand place with tons of ghosts in it. It was very I posted this on Twitter. Like, the whole vibe of this show is if you've ever been to Disney and on the Haunted Mansion, or ever been to Universal and went on Tower of Terror, literally, if you smashed up those together, all this,
made it
like,
not scary.
But, like, not, like, the actual falling part of Tower of Terror, but, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, even just, like, the moment where, like, it's revealed what the place is and he sees all the ghosts, that's very much like in Haunted Mansion. You go, and during the ride you get to this one part where you're seeing like a dining room, and then you start to see the ghosts, and the ghosts are, like, dancing and stuff. It just, like, perfectly reminded me of that, and I was just like, this is so good. I love it. I love everything about this freaking show.
You know what I really love? I really love the scene where they're at the coffee shop, and she's like, well, fine, like, if you can carry the coffee, like, with all the ghosts around and not spill any, like, I will concede that, like, you can ignore ghosts. And then he does it, and she's so upset.
So mad.
He's like, whatever, like, you could barely even bring that cup of coffee, and, like, storms out. It's just like, so it sort of tells you a lot about her character as a person, because, like, you know, she's so bitchy. I just love her.
He's not afraid of her.
No. Yeah. And everyone else is, but he's not.
I think, you mentioned Goblin before, and it's kind of like that too. Like, in Goblin, he's like a big dick, but he's not really. You know what I mean? Like, he acts like it, and I use kind of the same way. Like, she seems greedy and mean and everything, but she's not really. Like, when she's got that pile of diamonds and she's like, woohoo, and the guy's like, I need this, and she's like, fine. And then he's like,
and I need this. And she's like, okay. He's like, and leaves her, like, 2 diamonds, and she's like, fine.
Whatever. It's kind of more that she just doesn't know, like, social cues.
Like,
because she doesn't live in society.
To pay for the kid, like, to become someone who's worthwhile, and she's like, take that much money to raise a kid? And he's like, it does. And she's like, fine, right? Like, she doesn't say, well, the kid can eat gruel, and I don't care.
I'm very interested about the flower seller lady. What's her deal?
What's
her deal? She's, She's
the same lady from the beginning I've seen. I thought so, but I'm 100% certain, because she wasn't selling flowers, and that's...
No, she was running a bar or something.
Well, and it's obvious that she's not the Grim Reaper, but it almost seemed like she was halfway in that role a little bit, since they were all having flowers.
She took the guy's soul away, and then she was like, have fun in heaven, like, you've lived a righteous life, and, like, left a flower, and then just left. I'm like, what is her game? And then, like, she met the kid, who was still a kid, and he was nice to her, and, like, the dad was a dick to her, and then she was like, oh, your son has a good fate, though, like, he's gonna do things, and the dad's like, he just want to sell stuff, and the kid's like, no, it's okay.
Kind of like the good parts of Hwayugi, like that concept of, like, all these different characters with different purposes, and you don't know what all of it is, but you know that hopefully all the strings are gonna get pulled together, and you're gonna see the whole picture, and I like it.
I'm really loving this show. Like,
I do too.
My daughter, I've been trying to get my daughter to watch kdramas with me for, like, literally years, and she's always like, whatever, Mom. So last night I was like, watch this for the podcast, and it's, about a hotel for dead people. She was like, yeah, okay, I'll watch that episode, and I had to watch the second episode too, and she goes, okay, but, like, we're watching it again when she had to go to bed. So she was like, but we're going to watch it again later, right? And I was like,
we'll see.
Apparently watching this together now.
I'm a little worried, though. And the reason I'm a little worried is because, okay, it is a Hong Sisters drama. Mm-hmm. And what I have noticed about the dramas is I usually enjoy them, but they usually biff, like, the last 4 episodes. I'll still watch it. Don't get me wrong, even if the ending kind of blows. I know that this wasn't a Hong drama, but, like, the ending of Goblin kind of blew too, guys. Like, I'm not crazy.
I mean,
like,
you also have to kind of take that I think a lot of people don't remember is that you can't ever compare, like, any show. Doesn't matter who's writing it by the first episodes, because the first episodes are going to be outstandingly, like, they're gonna be on, like, a whole nother level than anything else, because they're trying to get you into it on the first thing. So comparing it to the first will always make it so that you're gonna, like, start to, like, hate the rest of it, because you're like, well, what was, and, like,
that's not what I really
I think
it's just like I've watched a lot of their dramas and I always enjoy them, but I'm always, like, left a little empty by the endings of them.
They're very good at characters and stories, but they're not real good at endings. They're not great at wrapping things up.
But that's okay.
Like Fayuki kind of went off the rails in the middle. Like it just sort of, it was like, we don't really know what we're doing now. And you're like, ouch.
And like Master Sun, like is one of my favorite
dramas. I love Master Sun.
But let's all be real. They forgot what they were doing for the last couple episodes and just made some shit up to end it. Like, and not in like like how creative. Like, no, they just were like, yeah, she went around the world with the ghost guy. Then came back, the end. It's like,
I think it's also like hard with like, especially with Korean drama, since like it's actually like standard okay that like if the people protest enough, then they're gonna change it no matter what. Even if you don't actually pick up on that's what they did behind doors, that's probably what happened. Yeah. And I'm not saying that like they could be bad at it, but there's also like I don't feel like you would still be getting work actually at this level if like it could have been other influences, you know?
A good argument for pre-produced dramas. The Hong sisters should always be pre-produced. Like,
which, you know what? This show might be, because I found an article last night because we were trying to figure out when it was, if it was
pre-produced. Trying to figure out if it was pre-produced.
And I found an article where they talked about 2 of the locations that they're shooting. So it's like a hotel and that's like mostly cafe area and a clothing store. And like a costume rental place. So the hotel and this costume rental place both are still in business, and they just have like photo areas for people to take pictures as like a fan thing because of Hotel Del Luna. So they might have already produced because these places are open. Like right now you could go into that store and rent costumes. Unless they're like taking everything out and like doing all stuff like at night.
Side note,
like a lot of work.
They do have an Instagram specifically for the show.
Oh, okay.
I always find it, you know, for this type of drama, not necessarily just a Hong Sisters drama, but like this style, like this fantasy style, like pre-produced is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way to go. Like
it makes it easier on the graphics team. It makes it
easier on everyone. Like, and it's just a better product. But I'm really, you know what I'm bizarrely excited for in this show? I'm excited to see what sort of PPL nonsense they bring in. Because, you know, I'm intrigued. Yeah. Like, what are they going to do?
As often it is within the
you know, the maids are going to be vacuuming the
dice.
Always.
Like, you know.
They could have done that with the Grim Reaper when he was like, just sweeping the ashes. Oh, missed opportunity.
If they had done that, I would have peed myself.
Yeah.
I would be like, this is the greatest PPL of all time. But
they started with the cars. She has the fleet of cars.
They got the shoes.
There's probably some jewelry that they're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm like real pumped because I not so secretly love PPL. Like, I just think, on one hand, I'm just like, listen, I have no problem with PPL because y'all got to pay for the show somehow. Right? Like, but like, I like it when it's integrated amusingly.
The Hong Sisters dramas I've seen, I've always really enjoyed, and I've always been totally fine with the end. Like, and it might have been because, like, for instance, Master Sun, I binged it. So as far as the feeling I get from the first few episodes, it kind of, if you binge it quick enough, it continues through the whole thing a little bit more. Whereas if you are watching as it airs, I mean, you can be a good month and a half later. So the feeling, the excited feeling you had for these 2 first episodes would probably dwindle by then. But if you are binging, like you're more kind of in the zone with it.
Yeah.
So same thing with Goblin for me.
Well, Goblin is a K.
And I know it's not a Hank sister, but like as far as a supernatural, like kind of similar.
Yeah. I found out there's a lot of similarities between just the theme and visuals and stuff between Goblin and this one. But if I was just to go by the first 2 episodes, I like this one way more.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, it's less old man pain and more just sort of like...
I'm definitely in it on the same level, like, in terms of I was in Goblin because of the cinematography and, like, the outside of, like, even just the storyline, just, like, visually, it was, like, appealing to me. And this show definitely has that for me, so, like, that adds, like, a whole nother level to, like, up my score, but...
You know what this show doesn't have? Really creepy age gaps.
So far, but really, if you think about it.
All I'm saying is,
I never TPH'd up, but
no one's a minor. Okay? That's all I have to say. No one's a minor, and I'm okay with that.
They did do, like, the relationship between her and the last manager, especially, like, the points when, like, you know, she was, like, saying her goodbyes to him, and, like, how he was able to be like, hey, you were my family, and, like, kind of, like, make it a very sweet thing, and, like, you got to see her love for him, even, like, in not, like, a creepy, like, way. I think that was nice.
You were my sister, then you were my daughter, then you were my granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, God, I'm gonna love him.
Oh, and she was so sad that she didn't, like, allow him, like, enough time to go fishing and stuff. She was like, I gave you the time, and then we didn't get to do it. And she was, like, very heartbroken about that. And I thought that was really, like, very touching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, this show. It's so good. I love IU so much.
She's so great. I love her.
Yuji Gu's character is really good too, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's fascinating.
Yeah, he's very good, but okay, he's an amazing actor. He's very good looking, and his voice is sultry, like fucking butter spreading over toast. But IU though.
IU was striking.
She can get it.
That, like, when she was giving him the sight to see, that, like, whole, like, scene where she's in the car with him and just staring at him, was just like, this is insane. This is so good. And all she's doing is just staring at him.
When they're, like, driving in the fancy cars, and she's like, oh, I should have started by showing you the cars. Maybe you would have been interested in working at the hotel more. And she's just so, like, snarky and mean, and I love it. I am here for it.
She does these little things too. Like, there was, like, you know, one point when she was walking, she was just, like, walking on, like, a, like, little half wall, or, like, she'd just be doing something else, and it was just, like, a very nice little, like, extra moments to, like, that don't need to be in there, but it's, like, makes a fun character.
And I really liked the moment she had, despite her expression barely changing, in the scene after she gets, spoiler alert, though, it's the first 2 episodes. Is it really a spoiler in the first 2 episodes? No.
No, not on our things.
Not our stuff, like, deal with it. Where she gets stabbed, right? And she's like, you can leave now, and if you can either help me and you're stuck with me, or you can leave. And then he actually runs away. And there's, like, a moment where she's like, I can't believe that fucker left. Like, but you can, like, tell that he's like, he just left me here. But then he comes back with the cart. And then when she just, like, she's, like, amazed, and then she just, like, stands up, and she's like, yeah, no, don't worry about it.
Like, get in the cart, because it's not so dirty, and she's, like, wearing white and looking at the cart full of trash, and she's like, no, I think I'll walk. Like, I'm good.
She's, like, done with this act now, and, like, stands up and just, like, pulls the spike out, and he's like, are you kidding me with this? And she's like, well, you're stuck with me now, sucker. And I'm just like, okay, like, I like her character. Yeah.
I liked the whole bit with the tiger and the painting and how, I mean, we've seen how, like, greedy she is and how she wants money and stuff. And then that concept, like, that's what he picks up and that's what he thinks is, like, she wants the painting because she's greedy. And then when he makes the realization that, no, the painting and the tiger are connected and she needs the painting in order to help the tiger. And you're like,
painting the tiger's home, which no longer exists anywhere but in the painting.
And she's also not going to, like, hold his hand to figure out who she is as a person. Like, she's not going to do that. Like, so if he's going to think it that way, he's going to think that way. She's not going to do anything about it.
No, whatever. She doesn't care what he thinks about her. She knows who she is.
I don't like with that, too, that as much as she doesn't, in the end, you know, he texts her to apologize for misunderstanding that whole situation. And she comes to accept the apology in person. She doesn't just send back, like, a KK text, you know. She's like, she shows up because,
she always kind of has, like, ulterior
like,
motive, too. Like, that's what I love about her is, like, she'll do things where it'll seem on one hand like she's doing something good, but at the end of the day, she's like, but the reason I actually came in person is because I want to force you to come to the hotel now. Thank you! Like, sucker! You're mine now. I'm, like, real pumped. I'm real pumped for this.
It's gonna be fun. Like, there's no way that this show is not gonna be fun, even if it falters a little.
It reminds me a lot of Master's Son, but my struggle with Master's Son was how it would try to be creepy.
Yeah,
because since that's not my thing, like that was my one struggle with. Well, I don't know. There's some other stuff, but this seems more charming and less scary.
Which the creepy stuff isn't really creepy. Like it is, but it's not
quirky,
like,
spooky. Like it's not supposed to be scary.
It's like campy. It's campy,
there's not as much haunting going on.
Yeah, it's not like there aren't any like jump scares or anything. Like
there were jump scares in Master's Son.
Yeah, and you know what else I like? I like her character way better than the female lead character in Master's Son. Because
that's kind of other stuff going on.
The female lead character is kind of annoying. Like, girl, you've seen ghosts your whole life and you can't just get it together already. Like, you need a man to like fix your problems. Yeah, girl, just like make friends with ghosts.
Looking back at Master's Son, there was a lot of stuff going down that could have been better. But that's why it's like
we like Master's Son.
I also am enjoying the female lead being the supernatural being.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes, it is nice. Yes.
And especially when she comes in at Ari being the warrior, too.
Yes.
And she's competent. She's 100% competent at what she does. Like, she doesn't need him to make her better or to help run the hotel. She just needs him to do the stuff she needs.
Logistics. It's like actual like.
She doesn't even need him to do stuff that she can't do. She needs him to do stuff she doesn't want to do. Yeah, like she could go pay the taxes herself.
She's like, nah.
But she doesn't want to bother with it because she's got other clothing related things and eating at all the places that her favorite comedian was eating at on his variety show to do, okay? Every time that they pulled up that guy's picture, and they're like, he's like, why are we even here? And she's like, well, he had eaten here on this, and he was just like, oh.
She keeps like pulling that out too. She's like, he can eat one of these in a one bite. If you can do it, then you're out of your contract. And he's like looking at her like the thing's the size of my head. I can't eat it.
I thought that was a nice nuance to her character. Like, even just within the first 2 episodes, it's not as if she's this immortal being that is totally divorced from modern reality. Like, she interacts with it. She's
totally into it.
Yeah.
What I like about it is like I'm so sort of tired of like it happens a lot in like vampire stuff, you know, where it was like, oh, the immortal being who has such ennui with, you know, living, blah blah blah, and like nothing is fun anymore. Like, no, she's like everything is fun, and I want to be
just like I'm just gonna be lazy about everything and not do anything.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, well, we need to get this guy, so I'm gonna go out and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't mess around.
She also, like as an owner of a hotel, you need to be working. Like, she's also, like, a good business person. You're like,
I hate your shoes. I'm going to buy you new ones.
She's trying to put the shoes back on, covered in ghost dust, and she's like, really? You want to wear those again? Because, like, ghost. And he's like, guess no. Like, I don't,
And she's like, I just want to, like, eat where I watch on my variety shows and like wear my incredible outfits and drive my fancy cars.
I've been around long enough. Let me have it.
This one is like, I don't want to see any gross ghosts tonight, so like get them out of my sight tonight.
I'm in a bad mood.
Like, this is so wonderful. She's so sassy. I love her.
I like that she's a complete character though, because for all that, they do show the ennui. She does have a sense of, I've been around for 1,000. And even all the good things, while I enjoy them, it still gets tiring after a while. Even the great view gets boring after 1,000 years. Nobody is all one thing or another thing, right? Your life is never all good or all bad. Like, there's aspects, and I like that they're showing that of her too. She can enjoy the things she enjoys while still longing to, like, move on with her life and maybe do something different or have something change, you know.
And I think that might be the plot that's coming.
You think?
No. I like no, it's just straight up them working at the hotel. It's just a slice of life ghost hotel drama.
Oh my god.
I love it.
100% would be in it. Like, would 10 out of 10. Perfect. If that happened, that would be great.
Like, we know that's not what's going to happen. No. But that would actually be, You know what? That
Oh
would
my
make an
gosh.
amazing manga, actually. Like, I would read that manga for show.
You know what? I
Multiple
also just realized I need an edit of when the hotel was growing to pretty much the
Good.
Walt Disney castle.
That's also like a
They
Haunted
need to do
Mansion.
the edit of the Walt Disney song, like da-da-da-da.
Because when you go into the Haunted Mansion, the first thing you go into before you actually get into the ride is you go into like this room and there's all these paintings and then like there's a guy who's like talking about things and then the paintings grow so the like room grows too and it's just like it's literally they had to have been like Haunted Mansion, Tower of Terror. Let's combine it and make a drama like with at least the aesthetic.
And IU would be great at it.
I love it.
Sold, Pong Sisters,
Done.
let's go.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just, watch it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Watch
It's now on Viki finally. Watch it.
And it's
Finally.
not scary.
It's not scary in the least. Like,
Really now.
there's like no, as of right now, there's like no jump scares. There's no
Like I said, like, the
gory,
only scary
like,
moment for me was the little girl at one point getting lured away by, you thought like some criminal was gonna like kill her and she was heading to the hotel next, and like that was a scary moment for me personally, but it's fine. Nothing happened to the kids. She was fine.
They pretty much said, this isn't an OCN drama.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, they're like, this is TVN, you're in for some fun. Don't worry about it.
So we recommend it a lot.
Yeah.
Just a little.
It's 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up from old Natalia. Well, this has been another episode of Certified Noonas. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you go out and watch Hotel Del Luna because it is such a delight, and it is a visual feast for the eyes and the ears and everything. It's delightful. You can find us wherever you're listening to us, but we're also on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. And we are on Twitter at Certified Noonas, and we would love to hear your thoughts on things, especially if you watched Hotel Del Luna and had some thoughts of your own. Also, if you want to support our podcast, always check out coffee.com/Certified Noonas. That's KOFI.com/Certified Noonas. We would really appreciate the support. All right, we hope you have a great week. Bye.
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 Bye.